First thing we're going to do is go ahead and paint the whole plate black. I'm going to start kind of in the middle. Using a wide brush will help this go a little bit quicker. I also want to make sure I get up on the edges and around the sides just so it looks nice all over. Craftsmanship is always important. Okay, now that our plate is dry, we're going to mark out some notches that we're going to make. I've made a template to make it easier for me, but if you're at home, you're going to need to place lines evenly spaced around the whole outside of the plate. Those notches need to total 19 of them, so there needs to be 19 spaces, notches on all the way around your plate. So I've made this template to make it easier for me to mark. You could just draw that on there, or if you have an additional paper plate, you could use that first to kind of organize your lines before you draw them on there, because once you kind of draw them on this black paint, it's gonna not erase very easy. So just working my way all the way around here, transferring those notches. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just cut them. It's easier if you cut more on the open side of the scissor than trying to cut at the tip, because sometimes the scissors tips don't line up. I'm cutting exactly on the pencil line. I'm not going past it or making it any bigger or longer. And the line that I'm cutting is only on my plate on that flat edge on the top. There's like a flat edge and then it goes down into the plate. That's as far as I'm cutting. If your plate doesn't have that kind of edge on it, you would want to cut about 1/4 of an inch line. Back to the beginning. Okay. Piece of yarn, it's about 3 yards long, which a yard is 3 feet, so this is about 9 or 10 feet long. And I'm going to start by placing the yarn on the back of the plate, holding it about a hand's width of string, and I'm going to put it right there in the first notch. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count 9 notches to the right around the plate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then that's where my first yarn's going to go. And I'm kind of holding the top and placing that in there, making sure it's nice and tight. Not pulled tight, but in there tight. So let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now I'm going to go behind the plate and come out in the notch right next to the one I attached here. And then I'm going to go up and crisscross the yarn and go to the next one over, behind the plate, come out, crisscross, in the notch, behind the plate, crisscross, notch, behind the plate, crisscross, notch, behind the plate, crisscross, behind the plate, crisscross, behind the plate. Now when I get here, I want to go, I'm on this is the side that I'm attaching to, so I'm going to go in this hole, not in this one, because see there, it doesn't crisscross, it kind of goes diagonally across it. So I'm going to go in here, behind the plate, notch, and then I'm going to go over, and when I come out, I don't have anywhere to go on the other side, so I'm going to start weaving. Now this is where you got to know what your right and your left are. This is my left side, it's the one my watch is on, and this is my right side. When we start weaving, we're going to be going to the left. And if you think about a clock, you have 12 o'clock here and you have 6 o'clock here, and the clock goes around in a circle this way. That's called clockwise. So we're going to be weaving clockwise. We don't want to go opposite it because then it won't weave correctly. So we're going to go clockwise. So I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to go over the first piece of yarn, then under, then over, then under, pull all that out. Now I'm going over, under, and that is the same process the whole time. You're always going over, under, over, under. And the way that you can check where you were is just look at what your last one did. So that one went over, so this, I'm sorry, this one went under, so now this one has to go over. And I'm just going to go all the way till I get back to the beginning, which was right here, that loose one there. So I'm just going to keep going till I get back to the beginning. And now once I get back to the beginning, I'm going to give it a nice pull straight down. And that's going to straighten out that one string and also let me keep going. So now I went over the first one, so now I'm going to go under this one. Over, under, over, under. Just keep going all the way. I do like 3 or 4 over unders and then I pull the string through. So I kind of did 3 or 4 of them and then I pull all the left over. And I just keep going, and again I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. This is not my beginning, it's the one next to it. This is where that string was coming out the bottom. So this is my, so I'm over, under, over, under. Now I'm back to the beginning again. Give it another little tuggy tug and then I just keep going. So I was under this one, so now I'll be over that one. Before we start weaving, I'm going to have you tape the back of it. I realized once I made the video that this was starting to pull out. So we're going to make sure we tape that before we do any weaving. I'm just going to keep going till I run out of this string, and then I will show you how to add a new piece of string. Okay, so now I picked my new color. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the two pieces of string together. I'm gonna hold them together and I'm gonna tie a knot in them. Just like if you were to tie a knot in the end of your shoelace. So I'm gonna take the two strings together. I'm just gonna ignore that there's two. I'm gonna make a hole, crisscross the tails, and then I'm gonna wrap them under and bring them up to the top. Now I want the knot to be as close to the end of the string as I can get. So I'm gonna grab those ends and I'm just going to slowly kind of scoot the knot. So I'm holding here with the ends of it, and I'm just kind of working the knot up towards the end of the string. And my teal color is a little bit longer, so I'm gonna pull on him a little bit, and that'll help even those out. And then when I get to the top, I'm just gonna give it a little tug on both strings. And then that leaves me with just a really little tail. And then I just keep weaving. The biggest problem people do at this point is they accidentally go the wrong way. So they're going counterclockwise. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna unweave everything you just wove. So you wanna keep going clockwise. So if you look at your plate, doesn't matter where you have it, but if you look at your plate, you're gonna keep going in a clockwise manner. So here it was over. So now I'm gonna be under, over, under, over. Now I have a long tail again, so I gotta pull it all the way out. Kind of using the knot as my pusher througher. Tighten. And then once you get to the knot, you'll see that it kind of is still there a little bit. So I'm gonna go a couple more, see if I can get rid of it. So now you can see that the strings, the ends of that knot are facing down, and that's exactly what I want. So I just push it down. If yours are sticking up, when you go back by the second time next to it, just tuck them in before you weave past it. Mine just happened to go right where I needed them to go. But if yours are sticking up out of the top, like a little sprout of hair, we don't want them sticking out the front. We want them to disappear behind. So you can, just when you get there, tuck them down before you go past it. Now, the way you can also double check to make sure that you're doing it correctly is you can look at the row before. So let me kind of zoom in here so you guys can see that. See if it'll focus. So you can see on this row before, my light green was on top, so my dark green has to be underneath. So I can kind of double check my weaving before I go too far to make sure that I'm still on track. If I was to have it going the same way, so let me do kind of a mistake here. So here you can see how that's like really long too now because it's going over two, and it's also touching the light green. We don't want it to touch the light green. It needs to be touching. It needs to be going over the knot one. So I just keep going. And again, you just keep going until you run out of this string, and then once you run out of this string to the end of this, you'll add another the same way, putting both strings together, tying a knot in it, pulling the knot towards the end, and then weaving it in. When we're all complete, I will show you how to finish this.